A well-made stock is the foundation to any good kitchen. Think about it. Any sauce, any stew, any braise, any soup, they all contain good stock inside of them. Any recipe that you can think of that has water inside it, you can replace with good stock and you've immediately increased the flavor of it. Oh, but Steve, I can just use a stock cube. And yes, of course, you can just use a stock cube. It's so much more convenient. However, using a stock cube versus using a really well-made stock is kind of like comparing McDonald's to a 3 Michelin star restaurant. They're both tasty in their own different ways, but obviously they're different. Having said that, I do not expect you to give up any of your comforts or conveniences that you expect from these stock cubes. So, in this video, I am not only going to teach you the best way of making veg stock, the best different ways of making veg stock, but I am also going to show you a super easy, guaranteed way to make sure that you have a constant supply of veg stock. It's a very simple process, so let's jump straight into it.
For the unfamiliar, making a stock is a lot like making tea. You add aromatic ingredients to a liquid, usually water. You let them infuse until the flavor is just right, and then you remove the solids. And the goal with stock, much like in tea, is to pull out as much flavor, aroma, and color as possible. To start, we're going to prepare our vegetables. All you want to do here is remove your peels and chop your veg into some large chunks. I would definitely recommend cutting off any ends of vegetables that look like they're very soiled and they can't be washed off, like inside of these carrots. And while a lot of creators online encourage cooking vegetable peels to be as sustainable as possible, I would only recommend doing this if you are 100% sure that they are spotless, as a lot of foodborne illnesses come from soiled produce and soil in general. Any vegetables like the ends of pieces of celery or even the tops of leeks can contain soil, but they are fairly easy to remove by chopping these up and cleaning them thoroughly in a good rinse of water, and then draining them. A good combination of herbs and spices also add a ton of flavor and depth to our stock. For this, we're adding garlic. Just remove any soiled bits and cut them in half through the center. Next, we're using a classic combination of thyme and parsley. The thyme is fine as is, but for the parsley, we just want the stems. And while there are a number of ingredients that I would recommend making stock out of, I would stray away from using starchy items like potatoes. Keep this in mind, if the veg isn't usually consumed raw, then don't add it to the stock. Now you can go ahead and add your veggies directly to the stock pot exactly as they are, without any issues. But for the very best flavor extraction, we want to break down the veg into small parts so they have as much surface area as possible. This is definitely an extra step, but a food processor makes super quick work of these veggies. You want them coarsely broken down, but you're not trying to make a vegetable puree here. Now, when it comes to making stock, for the mildest flavor and the cleanest colored stock, I would recommend adding your veg directly to a pot of water and simmering that. However, in this case, you can alternatively add a splash of oil to the pan and sweat your veggies in this oil for a few minutes. This will lightly bring out some more flavor and a little bit of extra sweetness from the veg, which I love. If you're going for a very deep color and flavor in your stock, I would highly recommend browning the veggies before, either in an oven or sauteing them very hard inside of your pan before adding your water. Once my big pot of veg was sweated lightly, I topped up with plenty of filtered water and brought it up to a simmer. At this point, I also added my aromatics of thyme, parsley stem, garlic, and exactly 10 black peppercorns. Once I saw a little simmer happening, I gave things a light mix to make sure all of my veggies and aromatics were properly submerged, and I simmered this for about 45 minutes. Once this is done infusing, it's time to strain. I would definitely recommend straining into a large heat-proof container, or in this case, another large pot, as well as a fine mesh sieve or strainer. All you're going to do is slowly pour the liquid inside of your pot through the strainer. Work in batches and force out liquid from the veggies using the back of a ladle to push out any goodness. I always like to double strain for good measure, just to make sure there's absolutely no bits left inside of my stock. At this point, I allow my stock to cool down ever so slightly, and then I just pour it into different 500ml containers. For short-term storage, I would recommend keeping these in the fridge for 2 to 3 days. For longer-term storage, I would recommend just freezing these whole for up to a year. or to make sure that you never buy stock again, I would place some stock over high heat until it's reduced by half and the flavor is concentrated. I would then let this cool down slightly, pour this into ice cube trays, and once frozen, I would store these in a Ziploc bag for long-term storage. And if you keep this up, you can enjoy an infinite supply of premium veg stock cubes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the information in this video useful, and I will catch you in the next episode.